Hi YouTube, hi everyone, it's your girl Prim and Proper and I'm back. So today I want to really touch on why it is important to know what your weaknesses are. The reason why I came up with this video is because I have learned some weaknesses that I still have, and I just wanted to share what I've learned in these past few months about myself. What I've learned in these past few months about myself. And why it's so important that I had to pinpoint what my weaknesses were so I can overcome it, and so I know the enemy won't trick me up, child, because he will always try to trick you up, flip you upside down. I don't know, child. So number one is so you won't get tricked up by the enemy. He has no new tricks. He'll try the same thing over and over again, and he'll just disguise it as something else or someone different, but there's nothing new about the situation. So for instance, if you meet a guy or a girl and that person is a different person, but they have characteristics that resemble your ex, and your ex was no one good, that your ex was toxic. So it's the same thing. It's just a new attraction, and you can't get so worked up about what you're attracted to, because that will also distract you. You have to also, like I said, date with purpose, all that good stuff. So number two, boundaries, setting boundaries, because once you know what your weaknesses are, because some people know their weaknesses and they still are tripped up about it, or they still fall short with the same thing over and over again. We all know someone who gets who has gone through the same thing over and over again. It's just like, wake up, you know what it is. Why don't you just do better? It's because that person has not mastered setting boundaries and knowing their limitations. So that is also important. Knowing your weakness helps you know what kind of boundaries you need to set for yourself and others, because you are in control of your life. So you can't expect someone else to set the boundaries for you or respect your morals or have limits for you in certain aspects of your life if you don't. So you have to set the boundaries. And number three, I hope you guys are writing all of this down. Number three, so you know what to pray for and against. God strengthened me in my weaknesses so that it won't overtake me. So that is a quick prayer that you can pray when you feel like when you feel like you're about to fall, or when you feel like your weaknesses is stronger than your strength, like it's overcoming you, or is in power right now. You can pray this prayer: God, strengthen me in my weaknesses so that it won't overtake me. Because like you guys, everyone falls short. There's no one perfect. No one is Jesus. That's the only person that walked this earth that was perfect. So you also want to be real with yourself as well. And I have a Bible verse for that as well. In 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, it says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, and so that the power of Christ may rest upon me." So you can boast about your weakness. So let me just be real. My weakness is, of course, food. I love deeply, so that causes me to have some sort of loyalty or attachment to certain people. But then that extends from me having daddy issues, having that person there, especially if that person is someone who is a provider or things like that, or things that I missed in my childhood from my father, and that person is giving that to me. So I had to realize certain things in my life. So I know, okay, that is something I need to work on, or I can't get too involved in that and miss out on what God is trying to show me. So number four is knowing your weaknesses will allow you to be more in the know about who you are as a person. Because if you don't know yourself, like, how will someone else know you? Or some people could figure you out and use what they know about you against you. So that's why it's important for you to know yourself, so you become more self-aware, and it gives you a better understanding of who you are. And do not feel like, okay, once you identify what your weaknesses are, do not beat yourself up. Don't do that. Everyone has weaknesses. So what you have to do is, once you identify it, you have to know, okay, how are you going to fight it, or how are you going to maneuver life with knowing what your weaknesses are. Because some people have drug addictions. That's a weakness. So you can't be around people who do drugs. Or some people have problem with alcoholism. You know, you can't go to a bar or go, if you don't have any self-control, you can't really go to the parties because you know they're going to have a supply of liquor, an overflow. You have to be real with yourself. Since I don't have a strong enough willpower to stay away from that, I can't even be around it. And the people around you have to respect that. What I've noticed, sometimes people who don't respect you in that way or don't understand what you're going through, they'll try to force you into situations that are no good for you. And those are the people that you have to check. It's not to say, I don't even want to quickly say that they don't love you or they don't respect the new you. It's just that some people don't know what you're going through. They don't know how deep it is. So once you explain it to them, and they have to respect it. And if they don't, then you move accordingly. You know that person doesn't have your best intentions. They don't have you in mind. They don't care for you. Once you explain to them, like, listen, I have a really bad problem with drinking and I can't be around liquor for my mental health, for my health, period. If that person doesn't respect that from here on out, or if they become distant, then that means your relationship didn't stand on anything. If we can't party together and we don't have a relationship after that, you're no friend of mine, because friendships have to be more than just about having fun. It has to be an accountability partner. It has to be someone who's going to be there for you through thick and thin, someone you can cry on their shoulder, someone you can depend on, someone who can help you when you're in need. So knowing your weakness will help weed out the snakes, weed out the weeds, period. So my last thing is, and another thing, that heart of yours. And like the Bible says in Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it? So if they're in the Bible talking about who can understand the heart, no one can. And what I take from that Bible verse is when you, like I said, when you see some, let me give an example. Like if you, a lot of times we notice people who go back to abusive relationships. You're like, why do you keep doing that? Like, you're so beautiful, or you don't need this person. That person just keeps going back to something that hurts them. That person still loves the person loves their abuser, and you don't understand why they love their abuser, because the person is obviously abusing them, hurting them, causing harm to them, and you can't understand it. They don't even understand why they keep going, because the heart is deceitful and it's desperately sick. And that's what I think about. So in order for you to acknowledge what your weaknesses are, you have to do a heart check. You have to do some deep soul searching, and probably even have to write down some things so you can see what is repetitive in your life, what are the cycles in your life, and what you keep allowing into your life. Because, come on, sometimes it's not easy for us to see what other people see. So sometimes you have to sit back and sit in what you're going through and analyze what is happening. And also know what your part in it all. So you get in an argument with your boyfriend or girlfriend, right? And you notice that once you get in an argument, you want to lash out and you want to fight and you want to be aggressive or violent. You know that, okay, this is what triggers me to be this way, and that's my weakness. My weakness is that I have no self-control when it comes to not having my way or acting out. I don't know how to effectively communicate. That's one of my weaknesses. So I also want to close out with this Bible verse. In Romans chapter 3, verse 23, it says, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." So it says, for all have sinned and fall short. All. So all of us are going to fall short at some time. None of us are perfect. So I don't want you to beat yourself up once you know what your weaknesses are. You go before God, because he's the one who's going to deliver you. He's the one who's going to strengthen you. He's the one who's going to set you free. Because I know when people don't know what their weaknesses are, they live life in cycles where the same thing keeps happening. It's like someone is pressing the rewind button on your life. But once you come into realization of what your weaknesses are, you're able to overcome and you're able to live the life God has called you to live. Don't you want to start living your best life? I want you to start living your best life. So the time is now. Do the soul searching that you need to do. God is waiting for you. God does not want you to stay in this low place. God does not want you to beat yourself up once you realize what your weaknesses are, because he's going to strengthen you in your weaknesses. Like Paul in the Bible, who's my favorite, he had a thorn at his side. They made sure they put that in the Bible to show you, even though he was a great person, a great man of God, where he preached to millions, to all these churches he wrote letters to, but he still had a thorn at his side that was a reminder. And I feel like your weaknesses is a reminder that you are no better than anyone else. I feel like that it's there to humble us, to know that, listen, you can never think that you're better than the next person, because you too are dealing with something. It may not be what that other person is dealing with, but it's a weakness that you're dealing with. It's a thorn at your side. You don't want any condemnation, because God is a God of grace. So he will forgive you for all your sins, but just don't stay there. Get up. Get up. Get up and change your perception and know what your weaknesses are and turn them into your strengths. Do not let the enemy play up under you in this season. I just hope you guys took from what I said, and I pray that it blessed everyone who's watching. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your post notification bell so you won't miss a beat, because I'll have more. And if you have any suggestions on topics that you want me to talk about, go ahead. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It's your girl, Primp and Papa. Love you guys.